know, I'm not hating on education or certain levels of material. Yo, riding in, a bucket, as say, opposed to, something with some like ambient lights on the inside of the door panel. Like ambient lights. Like the only ambient lights that I see in what I'm rolling in is from the radio. You feel me? But the new cars now, it's like you're rolling in one giant computer. And I'm not saying anything's wrong with that. I'm saying just recognize that the American dream is sort of predicated on the person or the average person embarking upon this to be asleep to a certain extent. Because is it really a dream or is it really a nightmare to look up and it's like, dag, 30 years on this house, 5 to 6 on this car, and who knows how long on these student loans, you know?
You never pay the student loans off. These things are not meant to be paid back. You can't pay them back. You can't get a job that's good enough to pay them back.
I'm glad you said that.
So what people do is
student loans
me too. No, me too. And guess what? That's most people do.
Right.
If you focus on paying your student loans, okay, that's good, man. But everybody doesn't have that luxury where you find a job right off. You get the bad months where you got to choose between eating and Sally Mae. You got to choose between rent and Sally Mae, and that's a hard situation to be in. So for you to be a slave, you have no way to pay. You're an indentured servant,
of course,
to the capitalist system. Which better capitalism than communism, because there is still a home run chance you can hit in this country. Just for example, just say this podcast takes off, or just say your clothing line takes off. Or any venture you want to do. That's still the opportunity in this country that you can be bigger than you ever thought you could be. But you can also get stolen in a second. Because it's big bang. It's okay, for example, like I said, your Impossible clothing line I thought was incredible. Okay, so I'm not going to be the only one who thinks that. When it goes out there and other people see it, there might be somebody else that might be running a Christian clothing brand. Like, I think it's incredible too. Hey, check it out. I want to buy it. And you might say, well, I'm not selling.
Right.
Then this person might say, well, then, may the best man win.
Right. Right.
Okay, may the best man win.
Right.
So I'm going to starve you out.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
That's capitalism.
Right.
Because, secular merch is still a business in the long run.
Most definitely.
So, and when somebody comes out to shoot with some stuff that people are buying, like, I remember you were selling shirts to people who don't even go to church.
Right.
But they're rocking them.
Right.
Like Dougie Fresh was rocking them.
Right,
like, look, Doug, you don't know how impossible shirt. You don't even go to church. You don't even make the sign of the cross. Dougie Fresh like, oh, man.
Right.
Just chill, man.
Right.
I like it. It's a nice shirt. So,
right.
And it's so, and
all things through Christ that strengthens me, a.k.a. Him possible.
And cats are buying it. They're not asking for hookups. They're not saying, hey, man, hook me up. Like, everybody asks for the hookup. Hey, man, let me buy that. So,
you know what?
That's a great...
Now that you say that, I tripped off of that. Because some of the people that was rocking those shirts, like, I would see them with, like, a few of my so-called customers and, like, who I sold to. Like, maybe on a Monday, they was rocking, like, a Ouija board shirt. I mean, like a shirt. On the front of it was like the whole outline of like a Ouija board. And then like the next day they'd be rocking a Him Possible or a Don't Pray or Hate like it was nothing. And like that was super like
in front of people.
Humbling, yeah.
Not to a church function, not to like bingo.
Right.
They're rocking and people were like, yo, so I'm just saying, coming out to shoot, there's high possibility in that. Well, I taught Saudi Arabian students, and they're like, if you want to open a business in Saudi Arabia, you got to find a prince. The prince is going to take about 70% of your business. Right. In this country, you can get your merch going, and you can. Yeah. Anybody has a chance to be big in it. Yes, now, sir. How long they stay, I don't know.
Yes, sir.
And then the temptations come, and how much money do you really need? And then you start, you play the game. Right. So, but other countries that can never happen.
Right.
You will never do that in another country. It's just not. That's why people come here. Why do people also come here? Because that American dream is pushed like a bumper sticker. Of course it is. Because that's how you get the best and brightest here.
But trip on this though.
You get the best and brightest in America from all countries.
Trip on this though. This right here goes out to. This goes out to all the people with vitriol and, sort of an axe to grind or little skewed perspective upon so-called African Americans. And, you might have some immigrant that moves here from their homeland and within 5 years they're balling. Like out the roof, just balling, Like, I'll say this. Just so y'all know, it's like there are things in place right now and have been where it is much easier for a foreigner. And I say a foreigner, I don't mean any disrespect. I mean someone from a different country moves here. They can get grants and incentives to open up a business. And so if you've anybody that's ever wondered why there's so many, Asians that might own a liquor store or, someone from the Middle East that owns, a gas station, or someone Asian that owns, a nail shop. And it's these shops a lot of times, I mean, they're all over, but a lot of times they wind up in what we would consider to be urban areas, and urban is just a code word for, black or whatever, but in these black areas. And it's like things are in place within a way where it's a lot harder for someone like me or someone like you to say, all right, I'm about to open up, a 99-cent store in the hood. It's like, you can do it, but the actual, process of it is so much more difficult. Is licensing fees that might apply for us. And I say us, I'm talking about so-called African Americans, that wouldn't apply for the Asian or the Middle Eastern or any other immigrant that happens to move here. There's, like I said, there's all sorts of grants and incentives and other things that makes it that much easier. So I was tripping off of this because this works on the other side also. As in, I trip off of when I look at, the like urban legends. You know what I mean? There's urban legends like they were saying how back in the mid-'80s there was a railroad. There is a railroad that runs through Los Angeles, and it runs all the way from the east side all the way through down through guess that would be like the south end of Watts.
Yeah, I know where you're going. finish this point because I want to, no, and take your time. I'm going to offer an alternative view of that. When I offered it, because we've had this discussion before, and you're right, it's not actually an urban legend, it's true.
Okay.
The CIA actually did drop weapons into South Central for the crack trade that was bought.
And that was after or during the same time that they were responsible for bringing crack into the urban areas.
Through Rick Ross, no matter what Rick Ross wants to say, he's himself as an urban legend, you know. Because I honestly believe there's not one person who could invent something so addictive.
Oh, right.
I mean, when I studied the history of Rick Ross, and I hope if he hears this, and odds are he's probably not going to hear this, but there's no way a guy from L.A. trade who never finished high school, who barely read, could concoct crack and make the addictive. Because it would have been done before. There were people in the cocaine game before. There were people freebasing and all that. Right. Look, man, there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
What I'm trying to say is this, is that, okay, he had some help. Even getting it out there and getting it marketed and him not getting arrested that quick. If you're out there for more than a year selling drugs, then you got some police assistance. Because whenever that little voting time comes where a congressperson, a sheriff, a judge needs to win, what are they going to do? They're going to crack down on the community, and the first people they're going after is the drug abusers, and they're also going after the drug sellers. Like I tell my nephew, when you start selling drugs, they already know. It's just not in their interest to bust you yet.
Right.
These cats, they want to get high collars. Right. They don't want to nail you 6 months in a trap house. No, they're going to wait till they get the RICO charges. They're going to wait till they get, till they got you, you fed time. You're serving. Right. They want to get that big collar, so they're all looking to advance their careers. They want to make detective. Can't get detective busting crackheads. You get detectives. They want to find out, what cartel is selling to you. Right. If they're not working for your cartel. So when you start selling drugs in the community, all they got to do is pressure an informant or pressure somebody on probation or parole. Hey, what's going on? Right. I'm going to revoke it right now. Okay, now I'll sing. There's some new cats around there. And the cop's like, okay, let that go a little bit. We'll let that go. So the crack ordeal that you're talking about, and the weapons thing can all be tied to true events and have been validated through CIA agents and FBI and actual law enforcement. So I wish it was an urban legend, but it's true. It's true as the water crisis in LA.
Why do you think they would implement such a diabolical?
And when I say this, it's going to be crazy. And when I say this, I'm going to put the second side too. Everybody thinks it's all about racism. It's about money. It's about.
I think it's about both.
Well, see, I can see that, but at the end of the day, to be racist, to hate somebody of a different color, to me, you have to have a reason. It'd be a very simple reason. It could be you got cracked in a football game by a linebacker, and you hate black people forever because he ruined your whole, career. I don't know, but to hate you also have to love. Apathy is when people don't care. So racism is to hate somebody because of the color of their skin. What's worse than a racist is somebody who doesn't see you, who run over you like blades of grass. Flip this. If I put that in the black community, if I put weapons in the black community, the Latin community, odds are they can't get lawyers. They're going to go do crimes with those guns. Okay, then I get to go and arrest them. They can't defend themselves. So what that does is that keeps this monetized criminal justice system in order. Remember, lawyers want to eat.
Because they bring you up on what?
Judges want to eat. Charges. Judges want to eat. Lawyers want to eat. Bailiffs want to eat. See, what people forget is, yes, the judicial system does protect its citizens, but at what cost? It's not for free. We live in a capitalist society, so it's a money-generating institution. So the foot criminals are the first ones to bring it in, and the cops are that first line of defense for the judicial system.
Right. Okay. So let me expound upon what you just said. I look at it like this, that let's start here. The hatred itself is spiritual. That's why can't even really be explained. Like, when I say it can't be explained, if you ask the average, like, so-called racist, what his beef is against whoever he's racist against, let's just pick black folks, right? So you have your average racist, you have your, and his hatred for someone who's of a darker complexion, specifically the so-called African American, right? If you ask him, and you like sitting down and you have a conversation, and you're asking, like I'm sitting here with you, he wouldn't really be able to articulate as to why he feels that way. To me, I go underneath everything that's like, oh well, it's because of this, that, and the third. It is a spiritual thing. That is the reason why, even on certain levels, blacks within this whole, what would be considered Pan-Africanism, or all the different, groups, because we, like, a lot of folks like to classify us, and even I did for a long time, as one big nigga. Like, we're all black, which to a degree that is true, but there's subgroups of being black. I've been told by too many Africans that I'm not African. Do you understand that?
Which is truth.
Which is truth, right? I didn't know it at that time when I was told that, so it was slightly offensive, because we were fed that we were African,
but check this
African American.
Check this out real quick, pause on that, because here's what I'm going to say is where we can get back to the why did you place the guns on the track? You have a people that are bastardized